Trust the process. Pain is power. All great things take time. I am unbreakable. Unbreakable.
Hello, everyone. Today I had the pleasure of sitting down with the CEO and founder of Spartan and Death Race. He is also a New York best-selling author of Spartan Up, Spartan Fit, and Spartan Way, host of the Spartan Up podcast and TedX speaker. After building a multi-million-dollar pool and construction business in college and creating a Wall Street trading firm, he set his sights on ripping 100 million people off their couch to make an impact, right? Creating a Spartan lifestyle. Now impacting more than over 100 million people's lives. Without any further ado, please help me welcome Joe DeSena.
Who's that?
Woo!
That's me. Thanks for having me. You blew up my head. My wife has no interest in me, and this is awesome. She's always like, you think you're so cool, Joe, but oh, did we freeze?
A little bit. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
You know, it's funny, Joe. When I started Spartan racing, like as I mentioned, I fell in love with the sport, and I started my podcast 7 months ago, and there were only really two real people that I wanted to have, and it was you, and it was Aaron from Fit Aid. I love Fit Aid.
Wow. I thought you were going to say me and like Elon Musk or maybe the Queen of England or something like that.
It's crazy. I know. I'm not anything like, I'm not trying to go super crazy, but I'm really, really humbled right now. And like I said, I met you in the past. I think it was the World Championships in Lake Tahoe back in.
You look familiar.
Yeah, I met you with the twins, Lost Twins, and Alicia Lopez and Misty Diaz. So I'm really good friends with them. So they're the ones that actually introduced me to the sport.
There's only 7 million faces for me to remember.
No biggie. Yeah, man. So basically with the Unbreakables, what I really want to do is dive into what really makes you unbreakable. I understand everybody goes through adversities, hardships, failures, right? And there's a difference of reaching success, but also chasing fulfillment. So for me, I know that you went through a lot of adversities in your life. Your mother died at a really young age. You grew up in the middle of the GoodFellas era, which that's another story to tell, right? You found a mentor, which was your neighbor. At 24 years old, you sold your pool cleaning business to pursue a career on Wall Street. And you fell into racing, ultra marathons, Ironmans. After 15 successful years, you decided to pivot. And that for me is like what made you want to pivot, right? So before we transition into what led you today, I really want to dive in a little bit to your childhood, to that moment when your mother passed away, and how did that shape you into the man that you are today?
I remember driving with my mom. I spent the last few months of her life with her. And I remember driving from Canada, probably not too far from where I am now on the farm. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the farm at that time. And I guess the end was coming. I guess I kind of knew it. I went to the gym, and she came with me to the gym. And she really couldn't exercise or do anything, but she just sat there, and I worked out. I was probably blowing off some steam. And I don't know, I guess what it really did for me now looking back, I don't think anybody's ever asked me this question, is it just made me appreciate life. It just made me understand that there's no guarantee tomorrow's coming. And so let's squeeze all the juice out of life today. Let's just get some shit done. Let's move forward. I did a post yesterday, or I did an interview yesterday, and I guess a bunch of people got upset with me because they were asking me in the interview, well, you know, you're going to have a race in Florida, and, you know, is it safe or whatever? And my answer was basically like, what are we going to do? Are we going to stay in our houses? We're going to run away from a virus? We're going to hide in our like, the living room was already a fucking problem before the virus.
Mm-hmm.
The couch was a problem before the virus. The devices were a problem before the virus. So anyway, with my mom, I think she permanently kicked me off the couch with that one when she died.
How do you think that developed? Like, so would you say like that drove you to develop a strong and unbreakable mindset? Do you think that was your pivotal moment, or
I think it helped. I don't know if that was the pivotal moment. I think there was many, many, many moments growing up. I think watching the movie The Godfather, finding out who everybody was in the neighborhood, questioning if I was tough enough, becoming friends with all these bosses. I'm just thinking of moments that you know, getting beat up in the neighborhood. I mean, just right, like there were fist fights a lot, you know, very often outside, seeing lots of people go to jail for life. People died. Just was the narrative. And so, you know, the other thing a lot of people don't understand is when you're around that kind of an environment where people go to jail, it is very, very important if you're in that lifestyle. I'm not condoning it, but if you're in that lifestyle, whether gangs or organized crime, whatever it is, that you maintain a very unbreakable image. Because if they can smell that you're the type of person that'll roll over, you're dead. Right?
a really good point. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you're a young boy and you're growing up in that kind of environment. And I don't know if I could remember exact moments, but over like a 15-year period, 20-year period, that's just part of the discussion. Like right?
So, I mean, I love the movie the GoodFellas. I love A Bronx Tale, right? I love all those New York Italian mob boss movies, and I know how intense it is, especially out in New York, right, in Queens. So, like you said, you were able to develop a strong, unbreakable mindset, right? But how did you know that, especially when you were in that proximity of those type of people? Like, how did you know? Like, it could have been easier for you to follow that crowd, right? I mean, they have the power, they have the respect, they have the money. But at what time did you realize, like, no, I want a different life for myself?
I would not have chased a different life if my mother didn't move my sister and I out of New York. Why would I have? I wanted what they had. I wanted a nice car. I wanted respect. I wanted nice suits. I wanted money. So, matter of fact, even though it doesn't make sense, most of us are attracted to that the same reason we're attracted to those movies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, mom really helped me there. I was kicking and screaming. I didn't want to leave. I certainly wasn't. I didn't want to chase yoga and meditation and wheat germ sandwiches. I wasn't interested in any of that.
How did you transition into, what led you into the pool business?
I needed money, and my father's neighbor, because by then my parents were divorced. My father's neighbor said, "Hey, why don't you come over and clean my pool? And I'll pay you $35 a week." And that was a lot of money. And he had a big house, and I just went over there and became an entrepreneur overnight. Made a ton of mistakes. Loved it, learned, ended up making enough money to pay for college. It was awesome. You're bringing back so many memories. It was the real shame, the thing I regret about it as I'm thinking about it, I'm answering that question, was my father was going through tough times. He had a pool as well, and his pool had turned green because he just didn't have the money, the chemical. And here I was as a very young kid. I'm cleaning my neighbor's pool, and I should have spent more time at my father's house too, focused on that. But I was I was looking to get ahead, and I was so focused on just doing work and getting paid. I definitely screwed that one up.
What were some of the lessons you learned from growing your pool business and construction business?
3 big lessons changed my whole life. My father's neighbor, the big boss, probably the first day I got there, he said, "Here's the deal. If you're going to be here at 8:00 in the morning, you say you're going to be here. You're going to be here at 7:45. Right? On time is late. If you are going to clean the pool, you're going to go above and beyond. You're going to straighten out the lawn furniture, straighten out the shed, etc. And then thirdly, you're never going to have your hand out asking for money. You're going to provide value first and then worry about getting paid."
Man, those are powerful right there. So those were lessons that you took with you along your way, right? Along your journey.
That was my whole bit, my life journey. Those 3 lessons were the big ones.
And that's really all you really need to really carry you
That's all
on.
you need. That's all you need in life. That's it. Same thing with getting married, relationships. It's all right there.
So what I want to know is, how does a man like you, who grew up in Queens with a pool cleaning business, end up landing a career on Wall Street? Take me back to that crystalline moment when you decided to pivot career paths.
I didn't want to leave the neighborhood. I had, pick of the litter customers, all these bosses. I mean, I was in anybody's backyard. I wanted to be in anybody's living room. If jokingly I say this, but if, the CIA or the FBI or anybody, like, I was in everybody's house. They trusted me. I was friends with them, and it was great. But I met an Italian guy in Ithaca, New York, where I was going to college. And he saw a spark in me. He saw this unbreakable grittiness. And he said, "You got to go to Wall Street." And I brushed him off. And after I graduated, he called me every month, literally every month on the month. "You got to go to Wall Street. You got to go to Wall Street. You got to go to." It was annoying. Went on for like 3 or 4 years. Finally, one day, he said, "If you're not going to listen to me, I'm going to give you a stock tip." And I had never bought stocks before. And I listened to him when I bought the stock. It's a convoluted story how I got this crazy story, but I ended up buying the stock, and the next day the company got taken over. And I made $100,000, and I said, "Oh my God, I got to go to Wall Street. This guy's right." He was right for 4 years. So I sold my business to my employees, and I worked my way to getting a job for $35,000 a year. At that time, I was making over $200,000 a year with my pool business. So that was many, 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 many steps backwards. And I ended up trying to do something I had never done before. Took 25 steps backwards with money. Took 25 steps backwards with political capital. In other words, I didn't have people working for me. I was the low man on the totem pole in this new job. But I stuck it out. I made a ton of mistakes, just like I had made in the swimming pool and construction business. I lost almost all I probably did lose all my money because I thought I was a genius trading stocks. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And eventually bounced back, started my own firm, got my act together. We ended up doing very, very well, and sold that I built the company on Wall Street, and then sold that in 2005. And then started my migration to Vermont. During that time, in the late 90s, I had reintroduced myself to all the things my mother was pushing: the yoga, the meditation, the health food, and exercise and long distance running. And I embraced it, even though at that point she was gone. And then, because I'm just a glutton for punishment, I decided to start my own race business while I was on Wall Street. couldn't make that work. Lost money. Moved to Vermont, and now I had my wife. I met my wife in that whole process when I was doing races. We started to have children. We lived on this farm in Vermont. I was working my way out of finance. I was continuing to have fun on the farm and try to put on races, but it wasn't working. And then in 2010, decided to change the name after 10 years of calling it Peak, PEAK.com, changed the name to Spartan, and leaned in heavily, and it worked. As a matter of fact, I think in the next few days here, maybe today, is our anniversary. I don't even know what, is today our anniversary? Our 10-year, Saturday? Saturday is our 10-year 10-year anniversary Spartan, 20-year anniversary putting on races. That's awesome. And yeah.
So you state that you have to be passionate about what you do, because when you're passionate, it doesn't feel like work, and you'll hustle through the difficulties. And it is known that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So how do you live a more fulfilled life? And what advice can you give someone who is currently working corporate America job, trying to transition out to pursue their passion and fulfillment?
So it just so happens that my third book, called The Spartan Way, I'm messing with you, but I wrote a book called The Spartan Way, and it's a culmination of, you know, ancient principles and all these principles that really answer the question you just asked. I wrestled with this for a long time, right? Because I had this one business when I was very young. I wanted to know if I was tough enough. I wanted to see if I could build a business. When I did, I wasn't fulfilled. I then went to Wall Street and I made money. I wanted to see, could I play with the big boys and the big girls? And I made money and I wasn't fulfilled. And then I stumbled upon this thing that my mom had been pushing, and I wasn't making money, but I was fulfilled.
You were happy, right?
And I was happy. And during that whole, 30, 40-year process, I said, really, it all comes down to these 10 things. And I didn't invent these things. You know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years of writings about this. But one of them, the most important one you ask about, is this idea of knowing your purpose. Mm-hmm. Why are you on the planet? You know, I'm going to sound a little crass here, but my neighbor that gave me the first job, used to say, there's a seat for every ass. Mm. And so there's a place for every person, right? Every person has their thing. Very hard to find your thing. And by the way, you can't find your thing sitting on the couch. You gotta be doing. Even if, well, I don't really like what I'm doing. Well, okay, we'll just keep fucking doing it until you find something else. You gotta be moving. You gotta be, you know, interacting, meeting people, taking phone calls, emailing, being in the mix. And while you're in the mix and stuff's happening, you're asking yourself questions. What do I like? What don't I like? What would I do if it was the last day on earth? What would I do? Here's the big question. What would I do even if I was failing at it? If I was failing and I was a terrible piano player, and people would leave the room when I played the piano, but I just loved it. When my hands were on that piano, I just loved it. But no one could stand being around. I sound terrible playing the piano. I got to somehow figure out a way to be in the piano business, music. You know what I mean? That's my thing. Maybe I got to be a piano pusher. I don't know. I got to do something around pianos.
You got to start somewhere, right?
The what?
You have to start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. So, and you got to find that thing you just love. So that's when you find that thing you love. And by the way, here's a revelation. Even when you find the thing you love, it still sucks. In other words, I love Spartan. I love the work I do, but that doesn't mean I wake up and I'm on cloud 9 all day. I got to deal with Sam over there as a pain in the ass. I got to deal with Alberto over here as a pain in the ass. I got to deal with John. I got headaches. I got customers screaming at me. I got neck, like all day long. That's just the deal. That's the deal. Those are the rules of engagement. If you don't like that, go get a job somewhere like that, or just watch Netflix. I don't know what to tell you, but everything you do in life has its ups and downs. And if you could find your purpose, and there'll be a little more up than there is down, but there's not going to be no down. I don't know.
So when you made that transition out of corporate, out of, Wall Street, from your pool business, and you came up with the idea of starting Spartan, did people think you were crazy?
What do you think?
Okay, so what was your response to that? Like, no, trust me, I have something here. I have something. And I know that you stated in the past that it took you 10, 15 years to build something for you to realize you were going broke, but for you to realize, like, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep at it. And was it your first Spartan race? Was it you had it at your farm? You had 700 people? Take me back to that moment. And when did you realize that
700 people 10 years ago this Saturday? How crazy is that? Hang on, I'm looking for a toothpick. We found the toothpicks. Hold on, I want a toothpick. But also, did you see the face masks?
Yes, I did.
Aren't they awesome?
Yes.
Maybe we should give away a free face mask for everybody that comes to Jacksonville. You better come to Jacksonville.
So Joe said if we can get 20 people to go to Jacksonville, he'll comp 20 tickets it's their first race opening up in June. I mean, it's perfect time for my birthday.
Let's do it. So 10 years ago, this coming Saturday, I'm a big believer in fire, ready, aim. That's my big saying. I think, 70, 80 years ago, it made sense to get ready, to aim, and to fire because we had a few bullets in our pouch and it took like 3 or 4 minutes to reload. So we really had to take our time. But today, the world is moving so fast, we got to move quick. And so screw it. On this day, May, what's the anniversary? May what? May 16th, 10 years ago, we're having a race. It's called Spartan. I don't know what it is. We're going to figure it out. But people are going to come. And I'm going to have a guy hiding in the woods, a gladiator. And people aren't even going to see him. And as they're running by, he's going to come tackle them and knock them over. Literally, that's what happened in the first race. And we're going to have a fire jump. And we'll have all kinds of crazy stuff we came up with. Barbed wire. And I don't know if it's going to work or not. You know what? If you can't get people to come, tell them it's a barbecue. and when they get there, they'll find out they're the ones being barbecued.
Right? There's no excuse. Just wear your mask. You'll be fine.
Exactly. So that was it. And then a lot of people came and it just happened. It just started happening. And I spent way more money than I wanted to or could. You guys got to go live right now? Hang on one second. I got to move. Pause the interview. We're doing a live. I'm coming to a new location. Bear with me.
No problem.
Ooh. There's this is the studio, the lockdown studio.
Man, it's big. It's beautiful.
Lockdown studio. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm doing I can't complain. I'm sorry, but I'm doing 4 workouts a day, every day. And I am 62 days into 4 workouts a day.
How's that been for you?
Have you heard of the Leondis Burpee I invented during the crisis?
Oh, I have not. I've heard of the burpees. That's what we're going to get into next, but not the...
Oh, the Leondis Burpee is 2 push-ups at the bottom.
Ooh.
I am so sore. Leonidas lunges. I've come up with all these crazy things because it's been so many days. I think when I hit 300 workouts in the next few weeks, I'm done. I think that's the end. I'm going outside. No more COVID.
Have you been at all?
I went to the dentist the other day, and I was surprised. Starbucks was open, I noticed. People were in the dent. Like, stuff's happening.
I think people are just getting tired, right?
They're tired of it. I was surprised at the negative reaction to my comments yesterday. You know, oh, well, don't you think it's too soon for an event? When won't it be too soon? Is July not too soon? August not? Like, I don't understand. You tell me, when is not too soon? When there's a cure? Well, there's only two ways out of this. I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a rant here. There's only two ways out. You either get a vaccine, which is 6, 12, 18 months away, or 70% of the population gets antibodies. So we could all live a shriveled up life and go bankrupt in our homes, or get the fuck out of the house. Now, if you're sick, if you're elderly, if you're at risk, stay in and don't mingle with those people. Everybody else, get out.
Just do it.
Do it.
Love it. Okay, so what I want to get into, burpees. You say that burpees are the ultimate exercise for humans. Can you talk to me about your swimming pool analogy?
You did your research.
I did my research, Joe. Come on, I was really looking forward to this one.
I like it. You could see me, right? We got that.
Yes.
So, you know, I used to clean pools, like I said, and I had 700 customers. I had to clean their pools. A typical swimming pool is about 20,000 gallons of water. And it's got a pump and a filter. Human body's about 13 gallons of water. It's got a pump and a filter. Heart, lungs, kidneys, liver. And we expect these little swimming pools, our bodies. Please think about this. I try to share this. I don't know if people get it. To filter out poor air quality, French fries, coffee, beer, alcohol, you name it, all this stuff we stick in our bodies. Filter out. Alex, say hello.
Hi.
That was it? She teaches a workout right now. She's doing a live.
Man, it's a busy household, huh?
This is 30 of us are on lockdown. So we're all at each other's throats at this point.
Just go outside and do some burpees.
I got to do some burpees. If I had a swimming pool, if I was cleaning a swimming pool, and I had dumped, a couple of containers of French fries in the pool and some coffees in the pool, even some leaves from a tree, the pool turns green. And then if you shut the filter off, you shut the pump down, and you shut the filter, it turns green fast. It even turns black. And so I'm hearing my daughter. She's so awesome. I probably don't tell them enough. She's literally 7 years old. She's leading the workout class. She gets like 150,000 views. I'm lucky to get like 6 views. But the point is, we are mostly water. I saw that. We're mostly water, and we got to keep ourselves clean, and we got to run our pump, and we got to clean our filters. And maybe if people start thinking about their bodies that way, we'll take better care of ourselves. We'll be more immune to pandemics. And, it's cool to go running. Running's hard, but it doesn't really clean the swimming pool, the human swimming pool. You want to clean the pool? You do some burpees. People hate burpees. That's why.
Life. I hate burpees, but I love them. It's bittersweet, right?
It's bittersweet.
Bittersweet. Do them every morning at 5:30 in the morning. Hate them.
5:30 for you is, I do a 5:30 a.m. warrior call, but that's on the East Coast.
What time is it over there? Like what, 2, 3 o'clock right now, right?
Yeah. You'd have to get up at 2:30 to be on our warrior call.
Oh, wow. Oh yeah, that's super early, but maybe I'll do them for some burpees now. So how can one change their frame of reference and develop grit?
I love the depth of the questions. So frame of reference are goggles or glasses we wear through life. They are framed from our beliefs, our values, our experiences. So for example, if you grew up in the mountains of Russia with very little food and you know, 3 walls to your house and the roof leaked and you froze every day, you would have a different frame of reference than, let's say, somebody that grew up on Park Avenue in a bubble wrapped existence. Think about the plant that grows up in a greenhouse versus the plant that grows up on the side of the mountain. Think about the animal that grows up in the zoo versus the animal that grows up in the wild. 2 different frames of reference. I learned this at a young age because I had a couple of Polish guys working for me. They didn't come from modern Poland. They came from communist Poland. It was a tough place. And I couldn't outwork them. They were tough. They were unbreakable. And I thought, wow, they have different frame of reference. Anytime times get tough for us, they think back. They have a place to refer to that is harder than where they are right now. And so we can trick our minds. We can create those places to refer to. We could take cold showers. We could do burpees. We could do 3 days with no food. We can crawl under barbed wire. We can go on a 100-mile run. We could do really tough things so that the next time we face something seemingly hard, the Wi-Fi doesn't work. Oh my goodness. We're out of dessert. Terrible, right? I didn't get enough sleep last night. Kill myself. You can refer back to those other tough times. Say, wait a minute, snap out of it. We faced tough times before. You're talking to you, right? And you get through it.
So looking back at those moments, what would you say is one of the toughest times that you've had to overcome in your life that truly, truly, truly makes you and defines you as unbreakable?
For me, tough times, I was thrown out of a car window at 85 miles an hour. My leg was ripped out of my hip. I woke up on the side of the road. It was tough. It was a tough day. I was in enormous pain. They broke my hip and put my leg back in my hip. And you get through it. I lost all my money twice. It was tough. Our 4th child that just walked by was told when she was 3 weeks old by a priest that we were giving her last rites. She was going to be dead in a few hours. It was a tough day. Yeah, I got lost once for 18 hours in a race. That was tough. That was a tough day. Slept in the rain a few times. I went across Alaska by foot in waist-deep snow, 30 below temperatures. My eyelashes were frozen shut. I once had a bicycle run over my neck. That was tough. It was a tough day. Whatever, but I wasn't in World War I. I wasn't in World War II. So there are levels to toughness. I'm a white guy from not that bad of a neighborhood that's had a pretty charmed life. So, but I inspire a bunch of people to be a little harder than they might otherwise be. That's what I do.
Build that mental toughness, right? That grit, that perseverance.
Yeah, and listen, I'll be honest with you. A lot of it is an act. I think when we do it, it's an act, and then because of that act and because of my reputation, I have to hold firm to that, right? You guys hold me accountable. I don't feel like doing burpees in the morning, but as soon as that live camera goes on, I have no choice. Right? I don't feel like carrying a kettlebell everywhere, but I already told you guys I do it, so I got to do it. And that's what we do. We hold each other accountable. You want grit. You want real grit. I was on the phone with this guy, Dean. He's become a friend of mine. He did 30 years. Much of his time in solitary confinement. 30 years. He was incarcerated incorrectly. He's now out. There were many weeks where he was eating toilet paper and toothpaste because they didn't give him food. Okay. I am a pretty pampered guy relative to that. So that's real grit.
Oh, yeah, that is real grit.
I mean, it's one thing, by the way, it's one thing to do 30 years if you committed the crime. You try doing 30 years. I mean, 30 years is hard no matter what. 3 years is hard. 3 days is hard. 30 years and you didn't commit the crime?
That's tough.
You know?
And
Tough.
I could imagine even stronger. Like, that doesn't really happen. It's very slim to none, you know? So the fact that he's still standing, it really speaks volumes.
Volumes. And so we could draw strength. Or, you know, what about all our friends in Spartan that are missing arms or legs or paralyzed? Oscar, Mike. I mean, we have nothing to complain about. Nothing to complain about. We have it pretty damn easy.
It's crazy because when I did my first Spartan race back in 2017, instead of starting with a sprint, I started off at the World Championships in Lake Tahoe. That was my first Spartan race. Mile 2, I wanted to quit. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to quit. But then I looked around and I would see people in crutches. I'd see people with one leg. And that's really what kept me going. Like, I'm over here like taking things for granted. Like, I have everything that I need, but I'm complaining because I'm going uphill, right? Because it's cold. And I looked over and I would just see how hard they're pushing. And that really got me to just get past the finish line.
I know.
Sometimes that's all it takes, right?
That's all it takes is to look around and see what other people are going through. And then maybe you gain some gratitude for your situation. But
so what is your fundamental strategy when it comes to selling discipline, hard work, and commitment?
You know, I believe that if you set some standards and a schedule for yourself, that drives discipline. Here's the schedule. Here's what we're doing every day. When I say we, I mean me and my mind and my whole body, right? This is what we're doing. You tell everybody you come in contact, this is what we're doing. So now you've got people to hold you accountable. And then, you know, you get through half a day and you look back and you pat yourself on the back and you've been disciplined for half a day. And then you make it through the full day, and then you make it through a week, and then you make it through a month. And then discipline drives results. So, you know, discipline, you have your schedule, drives discipline, that drives motivation. A lot of people get confused. They think, oh, Joe's motivated, I'm not. Motivation is not a thing that everybody just has. You got to work it. You got to stoke that fire. And I'm not motivated at 4:20 in the morning when I get going. By the way, the number one motivation for all of us human beings is the avoidance of discomfort. So if we're all motivated by avoiding discomfort, right? We don't want to do the burpees. We don't want to wake up early. We don't want to do any of those things, but you lock in a schedule, you etch it in stone, you follow the schedule, drives discipline. That discipline, looking back on what you just achieved, drives some motivation. I want to keep this going. I gained some momentum. I want to keep this thing going. And then that gets you closer to your goals.
Discipline is always going to override motivation. There's times you're not going to want to wake up, like you said, right? You're going to get it.
Yeah.
Somewhere there, it's going to last for a while.
I talked to so many successful people, Olympians, CEOs, super moms, and what they do, very common. I don't feel like getting on my bike, let's say, for 5 hours today. I'm just going to do 30 minutes. I don't feel like doing 300 burpees. I'm just going to do 20. You give yourself the out. You get 20 done, you're like, fuck it, I'll do 40. You get 40 done, you're like, I should really go to 100. I mean, I'm already here. I already got out of bed. You get to 100, and then somehow you muscle through to 300. So yeah, and that wasn't done with motivation. That was done with having a schedule and then discipline.
I agree. So especially with the times that we are in with the stay-at-home order with COVID-19, what are some things that you are currently learning to test your creativity?
Hang on, I just want to see if I had a 3 o'clock. Hold on. What time were we going? 2:30 to 3:30, or?
If that works for you.
Yeah, that's fine. I might need to get off a few minutes early.
No problem.
My strategies for COVID-19 during the lockdown. My strategy was a schedule, and a more strict schedule than pre-COVID. It was a lot of live to hold me accountable. It was a plan that I knew might fail, but you got to have some plan, even if you're planning to replan. And healthy eating, a large group to be locked down with. I didn't want to, so we immediately locked down with a big group. And I go to bed early every night. That was my plan.
And you just develop that routine, right? And you do it every single day?
Every single day. I got that 5:30 a.m. warrior call I have to be on. I got the whole globe on it. And just go day to day to day to day. That's it.
What would you say your best piece of advice is to living a more fulfilled life?
I'm a big believer that hard work, like physically hard work, where you sweat and you could look at what you got done today, it leaves a happy head on your pillow. I mean, you know what I mean? If you're not working hard and you've got an idle mind, boy, the devil can get in there. And I don't think there's a lot of psychologists in third world countries. I think people are just fighting through to survive every day. I think when we have too much quote unquote stuff and we have it too easy, we start to get in our own heads. And you get in your own head, you're behind enemy lines, I like to say. So work hard. Work hard. Work like you've never worked before.
I came across, I believe it was your TedX speak, and you talk about your 9 principles that you learned while facing your roadblocks. I know we may not have time to go through all 9 of them, but if we maybe just touch on just the 9 valuable principles, that'd be good right there.
Well, I mean, we talked about 1. We talked about purpose. We have to know our purpose, right? We talked about, we might have talked about delay. You got to delay gratification. Can't go for the cookie or the snooze button. We talked about changing your frame of reference, doing hard things. We didn't talk about manufacturing some adversity. We talked about manufacturing some adversity in life. Carry around a kettlebell or a sandbag, take cold showers, do the hard stuff. Don't waste time. It is your most valuable asset. Can't buy it with money. Time. We talked about it with my mom. Time. Everything you do every day should be getting you closer to your goals. Shouldn't be sitting on social media just wasting time. We did not talk about integrity. I think integrity is built when you stress test the parts and pieces, the arms, the legs, the brain, etc. If we look at a building or an automobile, the engineers will stress test all the parts and pieces of the building and the automobile before they put it on the road, before it faces 100 mile an hour fast turn around a racetrack, or before it faces a rainstorm if it's a building and a bunch of people get inside the building. They test the integrity of those parts and pieces. And so we should test the integrity of our parts and pieces. That's how you build integrity. Find out what you're like in tough times. How are you going to react in tough times? Anybody could be fun when times are easy. Community, we didn't talk about. Nobody does anything alone. There's always somebody on your right or your left helping you. Grit, you asked me about grit, is another very, very key principle. That ability to tough it out and stick it out even when you're seeing no results, even when you're going backwards. You're losing money trying to build Spartan for 15 years. builds grittiness. It's like calluses on the brain. Those are the big ones.
I love that. I love that. So I need to ask you, I'm sure you've met many amazing people in your lifetime, right? But if you can have dinner with one idol or mentor that you have not yet had the opportunity to, and only ask them one question, what would it be and who would it be?
Shackleton, famous English explorer, trapped in the ice for 2 years in a boat, didn't lose a man. And my question to him would be, can I join you?
Wow.
Yeah.
You had that one ready, right?
Good roll. I wanna get on that boat. I wanna be trapped in the ice for 2 years.
I think you just love the pain, Joe.
I just love I love problem solving. How did they get through that? I love the simplicity. You know, when you're trapped in the ice, I would imagine, for 2 years in a boat and there's no way out, like, there's no noise. It's just, we just have to deal with what's in front of us. We have to make it through today. Something really nice and refreshing about that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So out of everything that you've been through, everything that you've touched, what can you honestly say that makes you feel alive?
My wife.
Nice. What do they think about everything with Spartan and everything that you've created? I mean, if I was a kid, let alone your kid, I'd be like, oh, my dad has the coolest job in the world, you know? But what does it take on everything?
Let me show you. I had one of the best days of my life yesterday. I'll show you something. So yesterday, my kids went up. We were mixing cement at the top of the mountain. And I left the kids up there to work. And they've done some work before, but not backbreaking work like this. And I went up there and I saw the mason. And he said, man, the kids just worked all day mixing cement or whatever. And I didn't tell them they had to do it. That's the wall they built. Can you see it?
Wow, that's a big wall. Yeah.
And I was so proud to hear that they just went after it all day. And so I came home, talking a little because I don't want them to hear, but I came home and it's very important, the words you choose with children. It could really change the trajectory of their life. And I went into my older son's room and I said, hey, what's your problem? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, I heard you're trying to take my #1 spot. I was the #1 worker in this family. I heard you're coming after my spot. And he was confused, right? He was smiling, but it was good. So so I think we got some hard workers in the family.
That's awesome. But I'm sure you're able to, look at you and everything. It's a reflection, right? It's a mirror.
I hope so.
You're doing well, Joe. You're doing well. So what is next for you and what is next for Spartan? I know you mentioned you have...
Listen, I got a book I just wrote. This is my 5th book. My 4th book you didn't even hear about yet. But my 5th book is it's basically a somewhat nonfiction book about ancient Sparta. I'd love for you to read it. I don't know if are you a reader?
Absolutely, I would love to.
I'd love for you to read it because this is first draft and beat it up. I'm super excited about it because it could definitely become a movie series.
Ooh. Yeah, I would love to read it, and I definitely give you some feedback. And
that'd be great.
A lot of people read it too.
Yeah, it's gonna be bigger than the Avengers.
Ooh, okay. You're putting this on record, right? Do you realize that?
No one knows about this. You're getting some secret information here.
Man, that's exciting. And if you can, Joe, let our viewers, our listeners know, if they don't already know, how they can contact you, whether it's social media.
You shoot me an email, joe@spartan.com. And always never send me more than 1 sentence, maybe 2 sentences if you're really feeling frisky. But I want to keep it short because I respond rapidly to lots of people. And I let's do Jacksonville. Let's wake the fucking world up. Let's wake up the world. Let's be responsible. You know, let's if you're sick or you're connected to the elderly or whatever, let's stay away. You know, be smart about that. But if you're healthy, let's get out there.
Let's go.
Let's go.